So before you set your goals for the year, you need to do this one activity. Hi, my name is Eddie, and I am a therapist who specializes in trauma, stress, and anxiety. I currently practice in New Jersey. I specialize in EMDR and EMDR intensives. So let's get right back into it. So I haven't been posting any videos for a while because, life happens, and this is not actually my full-time job. Doing therapy is my full-time job. And I wanted to, in the new year, try to offer you some suggestions, whether you are someone who's looking to engage in therapy and you maybe need some tips as a potential client, or maybe are thinking about things that you want to accomplish, or if you're just in general want to just kind of think about life tips from the perspective of a therapist. I'm your girl. So one of the things that I am doing with a lot of clients in the beginning of the year is doing treatment plans and goal reviews. And if you're someone who is going to therapy for the first time, or you've been in therapy for a while, you sort of know, we have to identify goals for treatment, right? Like, what are the things that you want to accomplish while you are in therapy? And for me, I was always someone who just kind of had these global goals with people, just kind of identified like a feeling state. How do you want to feel? How do we know that you will make progress in your treatment? But one of the things that I often found, and I've changed this a lot in my years of practice, right, is we can't identify goals if we don't know where we actually are in this present moment, right? So oftentimes, because again, someone comes into my office and I don't know their life story, I just know where they want to go. And what we'll find is that like a client can have all these great goals. Think about the goals that you have. I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to, I'm going to get the job, or I'm going to finally get married. I'm going to such and such. I'm going to blah, 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 right? And we think about global goals of where we want to go, but how often do you think about where we actually are right now? And that is very uncomfortable for people to think about where they are right now, because where they are right now just kind of like sucks, right? They're like, I don't want to think about that. I want to just think about like the day that I find, dream guy. I want to think about the day that I, get on the scale and have this thing. I want to, get to the day that, where like I'm not triggered by thoughts of my ex or my anxiety whatever it is, like your treatment goals, whatever it is that you have in life. We all tend to like navigate to where we want to go, but we have a hard time sitting with where we are now. And I'm telling you that if you want to make progress in your life, especially in treatment, you have to sit and think about where you are now. I said that I used to be the type of person that hated treatment planning and hated treatment goals, because I was just like, this is just some sort of arbitrary thing. And it's like, these are not specific and measurable. I just kind of hated the idea of treatment goals, even though it is a part of our practice, right? Now I love them because I have a sense that I know where the client is, and then I can help the client get to where they want to go. And what had to happen for me was somebody said this to me, and when they said it, it like really hit home and it registered, because I'm someone who has a terrible sense of direction. Terrible, always have. And since the advent of Google Maps and all that stuff, like it's become even worse. So I had somebody say to me once, you really have to focus on where you are. And I was like, why? I don't understand why, right? And the person said, like, imagine that I dropped you in the middle of the woods, right? Imagine that if I said to you, I just dropped you off here, and now your job is to get to Venice, okay? And you're like, okay, great, whatever. Like, if you don't know where you are, and then on top of that, you don't know where you're going, right? Like, are you going to Venice Beach, California? Are you going to Venice, Italy? Are you going to Venice, Florida? Like, and then you don't even know where you are. Are you in California? Are you in Europe? Are you in the middle of Iowa? Like, where are you? And once that person said that to me, it was like, oh, okay, like that's true. Because if you, first of all, you want to know where you're going, right? Okay, that's easy. I want to go to Venice, Italy. Well, now we have a direction of where we want to go. But where are you now? So if I'm in the middle of, North Dakota, now I can plan accordingly, as opposed to like, I don't know, do I really have to pay attention to the direction? I'm just going to just start walking. Just gonna start walking in the direction that I feel that isn't. I think I feel like it's to the right, right? But what? And then you don't even realize that you actually have to get on a plane or on a boat, or how you're gonna get there. Like, you don't even know how you're gonna get there because you don't even know where you are, right? And so one of the things that I have my trusty little whiteboard that I do with my clients, right? Like, if you're gonna get on the map, you're gonna get on the path. We have goals, right? Are you over here? Are you over here? Are you over here? You don't even know where you are. So you need to start to focus on where you are right now before you can decide, before you can make a plan or a path to where you're going, right? So that is one of the things that you really have to sit and think about. And then here's the other thing. When you think about where you are, and I get it, because when a client finally reaches out to me, oftentimes it is like they're at their breaking point, right? Their spouses just left them, they just got fired from their third job, or they're just like, they're about to lose their job, or they're about to lose their spouse, and they're like, they've been telling me for years that I have to go to therapy, right? And so there's this desperation, right? There's this like, let's just make this better. Let's just fix this. Let's just fix this. My life sucks. My life is in shambles. Like, this is just a disaster. I need therapy now. I need therapy now, Eddie. I need therapy now. And you're like, great, okay. And then I sit down with them and I try to sort of say like, well, where are we at now, right? Because again, there is the, where you think you are, and then there's where you really are, right? So the other thing that I say to people in therapy, at least the first couple of sessions, is tell me where you are now in these various domains. And I will turn this sheet around because I will do this with my clients. And it's called a wheel of life, right? And I will post it in the notes down below that you can download it. But it's just basically like, these different domains of life, which is spirituality, money and finances, health and fitness, career and work, fun and recreation, home, environment and community, family and friends, partner and love, personal growth and learning, etc. Right? So these are the domains. Now, your love life may be a disaster. You may be like, it's on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being like it's a disaster, 10 being like this is actually great. When you go through your different domains, and you get to see that maybe in your area of family and friends, you're like at a 9. At partner and love, it might be like a 1. Your spirituality, you may have a strong spiritual base, that might be a 10. You, are really good with personal growth and learning. You might be a really great parent. So when you see that maybe these multiple areas of your life are actually doing well, it's just that your partner and life domain may suck. Here's 2 things that happen. You have an appreciation for the fact that your life does not suck, right? Let's put things in perspective. There's a part of your life that sucks, yes, but your whole life doesn't suck. Now, again, you start to tell me that all of these areas here are like at 1s. Okay, then we have some work to do and we have some direction. We know where we're going because we know where we are. And then when you sit with the partner in love, like, so let's say I'm using the example of, you're going through a tough time in your relationship and you have to go into therapy because you have to save your marriage, right? Because you have experienced trauma and you were abused as a child, and now you are, recreating some of the same patterns. You're now being abusive towards your kids, or you're being abusive towards your spouse, and you're like, I gotta stop. I don't want this anymore because I'm losing my family, right? And then you come in and you're like, I just can't lose my family. I can't lose my family. Okay, where you are now? Well, I can't lose my family. I can't lose my family. I can't. Where you are now? Like, we just got into the biggest fight. And you start to identify where you are, and then you have to get to, how did we get here? How did we get to the now before we can get to the future? Because once we can identify where we are now and where now is sucks, we also have to be able to look back and connect the dots of how did we get here, right? How did we get on this path? Like, how did we get, okay. And then you could say like, oh, well, we're here. And I actually thought we were here. But like, when I think about it, we're here. So when you want to get to here, it's like not that bad. It's not that scary. As opposed to if you're here, you're saying to yourself, okay, I have some work to do, versus, oh, well, I'm here and it's maybe not that bad, right? So again, part of is the task of, if you want to set goals, you have to really sit with where you are now and be honest with yourself, which can be hard, because the reality is, as a therapist, I know that people are not going to tell me everything the first couple of times that we meet because you don't trust me. You don't know me, right? Like you think I'm going to judge you, or I don't know what you think, right? But like, I don't have any illusion that you're going to come into my office for the first time if we've never met and you're going to tell me everything. Clients sometimes will tell me, and I call it like the doorknob confession, or it's like a very popular term in our field. It's like you won't tell me the truth till it's 5 minutes left in the session, or you won't tell me this thing till like session 3 or 4, right? But that's fine. That comes with the territory because you have to learn how to trust me. You have to learn how to feel safe with me. You have to learn how to like test out the waters. So you're not necessarily going to tell me everything, and that's great. But you need to be honest with yourself. So here's the thing, right? And I'm using the example of, a person comes in and says, I need to save my marriage. I need to save my marriage. And here's the thing, where I am now, right? Like what you say to me, this is where I am now, where like I'm at risk of losing my marriage. Where I then get more specific is like, what does that mean? Because for some people, it's like, I need to save my marriage, and like their spouse is already handing them the divorce papers. Or it's like, I need to save my marriage, and the spouse is saying like, if you don't go into therapy, you're losing me, or you've already lost me. Or this person is like, before we even get married, or before we even get to this place, like of moving forward, I need you to go into therapy so that you don't lose the marriage. You need to be honest with yourself about where you are, right? So this is the task for you. Before you set any goals of where you're going, I need you to know where you are now. Where are you now? Are you in Topeka, Kansas? Are you in Idaho? Are you in Europe? Because once you can identify where you are, then you can make the plan to go to where you want to go, right? And so again, I'm going to use the analogy of the traveling thing. I am someone who tends to be spontaneous, but I recognize that my spontaneity thrives under some element of structure. So if someone says to me, let's just say, I want to go to Venice, Italy, but I'm someone who yes, give me an itinerary, but along the way, if we kind of veer and detour, and I would love to stop off in Paris and see the Eiffel Tower, and I would like to stop off in London and see Big Ben. I would really love to go to this museum. Well, now if I have these ideas of where I want to go, I can map that out on the path on the way to Venice, right? Because then if you have some loose structure, and you're okay with the zigging and the zagging. But if you have no plan and you're like, I want to go to Venice, Italy, you know what? We should try to stop off at Paris. No, we should have stopped off in London before. Now you're chaotic. You're all over the place. You're everywhere. And then you're more frustrated because you're like, if we had just planned some spontaneity, right? Then you would allow yourself to really be present in the moment and enjoying the moment, as opposed to being choppy and having no direction and having no path. So this is what I think about when I think about my clients and they come in and they sort of say, this is where I want to go. And I say, okay, well, where are you now? And they're like, Eddie, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. But I need you to think about where you are now, and then we can map out what we're going to do so that you can get there, right? Because again, we can have multiple different paths. It could be EMDR, it could be talk therapy, it could be yoga, it could be walk and talk, it could be whatever it is that's going to help us get there. But we have to know where we are now before we can even discuss where we're going. Okay? So I hope this was helpful. I like to try to have these visuals because I'm a visual person, and I hope this was helpful. And like I said, I will have this Wheel of Life segment down below, but this is just one of the things that I use with my clients. But yeah, I hope this is helpful and that it gives you some sense of, before you think about setting goals, you need to really think about where you are right now in the present moment. So if you like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye guys.